Yeah, you can start.
Good day and welcome to our presentation. We are Group 10 and our topic is cyber threat intelligence. The members of the group are Rejoice Moyo, Lesley Maniwa, Douglas Mabuto, and myself, Sandra Madzima. I'll start by defining what cyber threat intelligence is. Okay. Cyber threat intelligence can be defined as contextually enriched information concerning actors, threats, and vulnerabilities presented to enhance the decision making process and heighten the consumer security posture. So we're seeing this enriched information is as a result of planning, collection, analysis, and the dissemination, which leads to greater situational awareness and the integration of security countermeasures within organizations. There are three basic types of CTIs. Let's move on to the next slide. There are three types of CTIs, and the first one being basic intelligence, current intelligence, and estimative intelligence. With basic intelligence, we're looking at past events and we're trying to explain, describe, or evaluate what would have happened and bringing that information to the present. With current intelligence, we are evaluating current events. And the idea is to get relevant intelligence that aids decision making. And then estimative intelligence is used to organization, based teams the measures. I'll leave this to Rejoice.
I think we lost Sandra, but when it comes to estimative intelligence, it is used to prepare decision makers for future threats. So it's predictive and more strategic. Then we move on to the importance of cyber threat intelligence. So, uh, cyber threat intelligence, it helps organization to process and understand attackers better. It also helps organization to respond faster to incidents. Uh, the importance of the cyber threat intelligence lies in an organization's ability, uh, lies in CTI's ability to be consumed by all teams within the security program. That is to say, if members within a security program are able to collect information related to CTI, analyze the information and use it for decision making, that helps them to value its importance to their organization. This level of influence ensures human consumers have a higher level of understanding of the threat landscape, enabling judgment-based decision making, and security technologies implement countermeasures to contest the actions of actors with malicious intent. Without actionable and contextualized CTI, security teams will be making best guesses and assumptions instead of intelligent-based decisions. So, cyber threat intelligence is important. It's detailed in this explanation. We may also note that it helps improves efficiency of security teams, that is to say IT security teams, and also it helps prevent data breaches, and companies are also enlightened to be proactive in terms of future threats that they may face. Moving on, so the CTI is an iterative process, that is to say it's a circular process, a continuous process, not an end-to-end process. Since threats within the environment that a business will be operating in evolve on a day-to-day basis, businesses ought to have the CTI process being continuous, so that they match the current trends and possibly the future trends in terms of attacks. So the threat intelligence lifecycle provides a framework for security teams to plan and implement their protective tactics and strategies against malicious digital behaviors. There are 5 phases of the cyber threat intelligence cycle, and the phases are shown in this diagram. The planning and direction stage or phase, which is the first one, then the collection, analysis, production, dissemination, and feedback. We go on to explain this in a little bit of detail. So the planning and direction stage set the scope and objectives for core internal processes. So it is arguably the most important stage, not because it's the first, but because it sets the purpose and scope of the other activities to follow. So we're just saying this gives us the direction of what we need to do and to achieve within our threat intelligence program. Then once we have our plan and direction of what we need to do, we proceed with the collection of data using various techniques and sources. The data we have to collect, it has to be in the right quantities and qualities, because it is upon the data that we would have collected that we will make decisions on decisions in the organization. So the data, it has to be in the right quality and quantity, so that we make the right decisions that will not cost the organization. Once the collection of the data is done, we go on to the analysis of the data. Data collected will be in raw format, so it has to be processed so that it can become meaningful to those who would want to use the data to make decisions. That is the translation of the raw intel or data into meaningful and taxonomized actors, events, and attributes. Um, then we move on to the production stage. Here we assess the process data, its significance and severity based on business and environmental context. During production, it's essential to identify the most meaningful information and derive logical conclusions from the data and analysis completed in the prior phase. Then we move on to dissemination and feedback report. Uh, the finished intel considering agency and confidentiality. Upon receiving the finished intelligence, stakeholders uh, evaluate the findings, make key decisions, and provide feedback uh, to the necessary people so that organizations can refine their intelligence operations. Then we move on to the subdomains of CTI. So CTI has got four subdomains, and the subdomains are as follows: the strategic, operational, and technical and tactical. So the strategic intelligence, this is the top level top level subdomain. The So the high level, the strategic threat intelligence provides an overview of the organization threat landscape. It is less technical, is mainly for executive level security professionals to drive high level organizational strategy based on findings, the findings that we would have got from the previous stage that went through the CTI cycle. Then we go on to the other level, which is the operational threat intelligence, which focuses on knowledge about the attacks. It gives detailed insights on factors like nature, motive, timing, and how an attack is carried out. Ideally, the information is gathered from hacker chat rooms or their discussions online through infiltration, which makes it difficult to obtain. Then we move on to the technical threat intelligence. The technical threat intelligence focus on specific clues or evidence on attacks and creates a base to analyze such attacks. Threat intelligence analyst scans for indicators of compromise, also known as IOCs, which includes reported IP addresses, the content of phishing emails, malware samples, and fraudulent URLs. Timing for sharing technical intelligence is very critical because IOCs such as malicious IPs or fraudulent URLs become obsolete in a few days. Then the tactical threat intelligence consists of more specific details on threat actors and is mainly for security teams to understand the attack vectors. Intelligence gives them insights on how to build defense strategy to mitigate attacks. The report includes the vulnerabilities in the security systems that attackers could take advantage of and how to identify such attacks. The finding is used to strengthen the existing security controls or defense mechanisms and helps to remove the vulnerabilities in the network. We'll move on to the next presenter.
Thank you. So every person or every user of the internet is a consumer of cyber threat intelligence data, because on every device there's a threat that one may encounter, which may cause loss of data or denial of service to their device. But in particular, on a global scale, cyber threat intelligence has proved beneficial to every level of state, local, tribal, and territorial government entities, from senior executives as such, uh, chief information security officers, policymakers, information technology specialists, law enforcement officers, security officers, accountants, and criminal analysts. So at every level of our subdomain, that is where these members of staff are involved. For example, in our strategic planning, that's where we have our senior level managers. But because it's a cycle, it can start from the bottom, where probably an attack has already occurred, and we are trying now to fix the attack. So senior, when the data has been collected by our technocrats, they've analyzed the data, they've seen where the threat is. They now advise our senior managers in terms of how they can mitigate this attack. If there's need for buying of special softwares or equipment, or if there's need to train users within an organization in that domain. But there's also, when an attack has happened and it has been documented, there may be need to advise the law enforcement officers if we are knowledgeable of who has done some malicious maybe cracking on our system, or someone has stolen some money. Then we need to advise the law enforcement officers. Maybe someone needs to be arrested. We may also need to advise policymakers, because when someone has done something, maybe they've stolen data, they've cloned someone else's phone, and there's no law that is there to arrest this person or to stop people from doing that, because people are maybe are not knowledgeable. Then there's need for law enforcement and policymakers to be advised, so that laws can be put around such threats. Moving on. So we have examples of CTI tools that we can use. Some of these are on local organizational, like you can buy your software and then you put it on your covered premises. Some of them are on the cloud, because these tools, they require a lot of power, because they are scanning the entire internet for threats, and then they're advising you that these are the threats that are outside, and these are the threats that are within the organization. So some of them are Cisco Umbrella, there's Decipher, there's EchoSec, there's Gray Noise, there's Lumina, there's Recorded Future, and there's Icewater. We are going to be using Gray Noise, which is a cloud-based tool. So we are going to put up our presentation, which will show how this cloud-based tool is going to be used. To the next presenter. Over to you, Joyce.
Rejoice, are you there?
Sorry, it was on mute. Okay, CTI tools should be data-driven, flexible, external focused, comprehensive, and extensible. So explaining what this means, data-driven means that the CTI is built on a bedrock of data and analytics. The tool must collect information from multiple public, gated, and third party sources to create a reliable repository of threat related knowledge. As the previous presenter mentioned, that the CTI occurs when data is searched through all the internet. So if there is no data, then practically these tools are useless. And then they should be flexible. It should connect with branch offices and distributed locations to give you a centralized visibility. And then it should be external focused on external threats. It may integrate with internal systems to aid in threat detection and response, but its key purpose is to scan external data feeds, repositories, and searches to document emerging threat types. It should also be comprehensive, meaning that it must provide complete protection across all devices, cloud and on-premise services, and network ports. Finally, it should be extensible, meaning that it should connect with the rest of the security infrastructure. Moving on. So, in conclusion, we can mention that CTI is really important when we will be doing our cyber activities. And it is also important to remember that since it affects the whole internet, it should have access to all the internet for you to be able to get a threat. Usually these threats might be local, but then with this one, we are really focused on external threats. So properly applied cyber threat intelligence can provide greater insights into cyber threats, allowing for a faster, more targeted response, as well as resource development and allocation. It can assist decision makers in determining acceptable business risks, developing controls and budgets, in making equipment and staffing decisions. That is for strategic intelligence. And for operational or technical intelligence, CTI provide insights that guide and support incident response and post-incident activities. And then the advance the use and indicators by validating, prioritizing, specifying the length of time an indicator is valid. That is for tactical intelligence. And finally, over the next several years, the inclusion of CTI into SLTT government operations will become increasingly important as all levels and employees are focused to respond on the cyber threat. So this is the end of our presentation. We look forward to meet you again as we'll be presenting on our CTI tool, Gray Noise. Thank you for your time.